Welcome to the battlefield of the Morphy Defense, where one false step can decide the game instantly. In this video, we reveal the deadliest chess opening traps for white. Secrets that can crush opponents who dare to enter the Morphy Defense. Whether you're a beginner learning sharp tricks or a seasoned chess lover searching for new weapons, this guide will show you how to punish the Morphy Defense like a master. We begin with pawn to e4. Black responds with pawn to e5. Our knight leaps forward to f3, and black mirrors with knight to c6. Now the Morphy Defense takes shape as we bring our bishop to b5. Black challenges with pawn to a6, and we retreat our bishop to a4. Their knight jumps to f6, eyeing our center, but here comes the surprise. We push pawn to d4, seizing the heart of the board. Black dares to capture with knight to e4, and instantly we advance pawn to d5, kicking their knight away. The knight retreats awkwardly to e7, and we unleash knight to e5, piling on the pressure. Black tries to expand with pawn to b5. Our bishop calmly slides back to b3. They develop bishop to b7, but it's already too late. We thrust pawn to d6, a dagger into their defenses. Black captures with knight to d6, and now comes the thunder. Our queen storms to d6, shattering their structure. Their pawn takes back on d6, but watch closely. Our bishop flies to f7, delivering a crushing checkmate. The Morphy Defense turned into Black's worst nightmare in just a few brilliant moves. Let's check out another stunning trap to crush the Morphy Defense early. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop to a4. Their knight comes forward to f6, challenging the center, but we counter with pawn to d4, seizing space. Black lashes out with pawn to b5, and we calmly bring our bishop back to b3. But now, they get greedy. Knight captures on d4. We strike back. Our knight captures on d4. Black takes with pawn to d4, and here the trap is set. We thrust pawn to e5, driving their knight away. Forced back to g8, their position collapses. And now the queen slides to f3, staring straight at their weak point. Checkmate threats are unavoidable. The Morphy Defense has turned into a deadly ambush. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6. Instead of retreating, we strike. Bishop captures on c6. Their pawn is forced to recapture, doubling their pawns. We castle swiftly, bringing our king to safety. Black develops bishop to d6, but now we challenge the center with pawn to d4. They respond with bishop to g4, pinning our knight. We push forward, pawn to e5. Black greedily captures with bishop to e5. And here comes the trap. Our queen slides to d8, exchanging queens. Their rook is dragged out to d8, and in that very moment, our knight captures on e5. Black is left exposed, their center shattered, and the Morphy Defense collapses in just a few moves. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop captures knight on c6, pawn recaptures. Now we castle to safety. Black develops knight to f6, and here comes the trap. Our knight jumps boldly to e5, daring them to capture. Black takes the bait. Knight captures on e5, but instantly our rook swings to e1, pinning their knight. Black scrambles with queen to d4. We calmly retreat our knight to f3. And now, greed takes over. Their queen captures on f2 with check. We slide our king to h1, walking into the storm. Black brings bishop to f5, hunting for blood, but we remain ice cold. Our knight leaps to c3, building pressure. Black castles long, thinking they are safe, and then the strike. Our knight captures on e4, tearing their defense apart. Suddenly, it is Black who stands on the edge of defeat. The Morphy Defense turned into a devastating trap, and the board belongs to us. Next, we have a spectacular trap to checkmate Black in just 9 moves. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop captures knight on c6, pawn recaptures. We castle safely. Black develops bishop to d6. Now we strike the center with pawn to d4. But black grows careless. Their queen slides to f6, chasing dreams of pressure. We sharpen the blade, pawn to e5. Their bishop captures greedily. And now, the trap is sprung. Our bishop pins with a deadly stare, bishop to g5. Black retreats with queen to e6, thinking they've escaped. But in one final thunderclap, our queen dives to d8. Checkmate. The Morphy defense ends in total destruction in just 9 moves. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop to a4. But then they get aggressive, pawn to b5. We calmly slide our bishop back to b3. Black storms forward again with pawn to a5, but we answer with pawn to a4, stopping their advance. They push pawn to b4, attacking our knight's outpost. We shift the fight, pawn to d4, striking the center. Black develops bishop to d6, but here comes the trap. We advance pawn to e5, hitting their knight. They capture with knight to e5. We recapture with our knight, and their bishop takes back. And then, the thunderbolt. Our queen slides to d5, a deadly strike pinning their bishop and threatening checkmate in the blink of an eye. The Morphy defense turned into a battlefield disaster in just 10 moves. Our final trap against the Morphy defense is a mind-blowing tactic. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop to a4. Pawn to b5 chases our bishop. We calmly return to b3. Their knight jumps to f6, building pressure. We add strength with knight to c3. Black storms forward with pawn to a5, and now the attack begins. Our knight lunges to g5, threatening their king. In desperation, black shoves pawn to b4. But here comes the thunder. Our knight sacrifices itself on f7, a shocking strike against the heart of their defense. Black scrambles, bringing queen to e7 to guard. But it's too late. Our other knight leaps to b5, joining the assault. The board trembles. The Morphy defense is shattered, and Black's king is trapped in a storm they never saw coming. Now you've seen how powerful white can be against the Morphy defense. The next time someone tries it against you, you'll know exactly how to turn the tables. If you enjoyed these deadly chess traps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And unlock more opening secrets with us. Drop a super thanks or become a channel member to support the channel. Every move you make helps us bring you more high-impact chess content. Thanks for watching, and may your next game end in victory.